meetup, cybersecurity meetup, I had the opportunity to meet with Kevin Darwell. So he's the president of Cyber to Labs. So during his presentation, what he was mainly focusing was he was focusing on blue teaming, because everyone in current scenario, everyone is going towards the offensive security, but no one is focusing on the blue teaming. So yeah, sir, that's great that you have been working in the SOC domain. I would love to learn from you also, and I'll have my doubts cleared out by asking questions to you. Thank you
No
so much.
problem. You can connect anytime. So basically, I was professor for years, so 5 years around. So I know,
Um,
so I can guide, not only the students, but also, professionals we are discussing. And yeah, I
mhm.
love to, guide you. And also I'm learning, because blue team guy without red team knowledge, little bit,
Yeah.
I would say not good one. So blue team member also need knowledge about red team.
Yes, sir, absolutely, absolutely. As you can see, Kevin, sir, he was the one who created the Cyber 2 Labs, all those certifications and all, and he is focusing on blue teaming. He is giving us the knowledge about how people are breaking. The defense is not at the right place. So that's great. So that's great. We'll have the learning together. Yes, Pratham. Mm. Let's continue. Yes, yes. Anyone? Anyone? Yeah, sure. So yeah, this is the release candidate. This is not the real, you can say, not the applied OWASP Top 10 2025 edition. It's still in the release candidate form. So we would be getting some changes or no changes based in the few months. We'll have the confirmed OWASP Top 10 to 2025. But in the new 2025 OWASP Top 10, you can see there are few changes which are present. So, do you want to say something, Pratham, about this? Hello, Pratham. You wanted to add something? You wanted to add something here, right? About this was okay. Okay, so this was the previous 2021 edition, right? You have on the screen. The first one was broken access control, then cryptographic failures, injection, insecure design. So we'll cover it one by one. The new one, 2025 edition. So what you can see, one more thing you can observe here is that the SSRF, it's been combined with the broken access control, and it's ranked the first. So why do you think it has been merged with the broken access control? Do you have, what ideas do you have? Like why can you say that SSRF is also a part of broken access control? Can you yes, Pratik.
I think SSRF is a part of broken access control because the if a person is able to send like a malicious request on the server and the server is responding properly, then he has gained access to that particular server. So that is the reason it is combined.
Okay, yes. You are right. You are right. So SSRF is fundamentally a failure of the server to enforce access controls on the outbound requests. Okay, so previously, as you have also seen the Owasp 2017, they had attacks like XXE, SSRF, and which combined here in the 2025 edition, it combined to the broken access control. Why do you think the broken access control? Because why it was combined, the main reason why it was combined was because because of the cloud. Okay, because leaving an S3 bucket open or a Kubernetes dashboard public is now easier than ever. So that was the thing which made the people add this SSRF attack to the broken access control. Because as we are growing, the cloud servers, databases, all are growing at an incredible rate. So that was one of the things which led it to merging with broken access control. So, do you have any doubts or something like that? Some questions you want to ask? Okay. So, moving on, second. Okay. Yes. Hmm. Yeah. So, the second one is security misconfiguration, which moved from fifth position to the second position. Why do you think? Do you have any idea? Like why it moved from the fifth position to the second position? Do you have any idea or something which you have in mind which you want to say? Like
This is very important, Rudra, because
yes.
security misconfiguration, and this is, from talking from my experience, uh, people, is the weakest link in the organization. And when you talk about security misconfiguration, not talking about particular device. It might happen on your, servers like Active Directory. It might happen on your routers, switches, whatnot. And because of the security misconfiguration or maybe policy not properly hardened, you are vulnerable. I will give you example, and this has happened, in one of a company. So they did what? They in firewall, instead of setting right policy for the inbound communication, for restriction, they basically try to that toward the DMG servers or maybe demilitarized zone where sensitive applications are actually running. They by mistake, they not hardening the inbound policy. Because of that, attacker easily perform the DOS attacks. So, and that's why when you talk about security misconfiguration, people are not doing intentionally. It might happen unintentionally. And why? Because if you know about the firewall rules, guys, firewall rules apply from top to down. And if you miss the order of the rules, it will happen by mistake, because it's like top down approach. So it will go like from top 1 2 3 4 like that. And if you miss that configuration, not you did intentionally, but by mistake, it is a problem to the company reputation, because attacker can easily gain access. So that's why I think they moved to security misconfiguration, and we got several cases in 2025 which is related to the security misconfiguration. And again, based on the surveys, I think this is moved from fifth to second rank.
Yes. Definitely, sir. Definitely. Sorry, Pratham, can you repeat once again? Yeah, definitely. Like for example, if you like, I'm giving you an example. If you buy a software like a high security vault, consider it, but you left the default factory code set as 000 or installed it with a backdoor unhinged. So the thing will be, you are, this is a security misconfiguration. You are the setting which you are doing. You are just setting the default code as 000. So there may be a case where an attacker who is trying to get into it, they might try it. They might try the basic passwords. They try to break it down. So that's the case. That's the case of security misconfiguration. And yeah, it moved to the second position. That's the great point which you have said, myself. And also adding to it, like as I said before, because of everything moving to the cloud side, the misconfiguration which can happen in the cloud, that's the one of the main reason why it moved to the rank 2, because uh, there are many permissions. Like if you go to the cloud, you have to set up, there are many configuration setting, IAM and everything. So if you have one misconfiguration there, if you set a setting to some default settings which an attacker could try to bypass it, so that would be the case. So that's why, and there were many cases in the past few years, so that made this to rise to the rank of second. Okay, so moving on to the third one is the software supply chain. So what do you think about this new category which came here? Yes, sir.
And this is important why this move to software supply chain. I think this is supply chain attack, right? This is I think software supply chain failure. I don't know whether it's so initially what it's called, vulnerable and outdated component, right?
Vulnerable and outdated components, yeah.
Yeah, maybe this is moved because of the Microsoft. We saw the recently Microsoft got impacted because of Falcon. Everybody
Mhm.
calls the blue screen also. This is again because Microsoft is using Falcon, in their kernel, and because of the error, right, guys? If everybody is impacted because of blue screen, of death, and
Blue
the
screen of
problem
it.
is very simple. Yeah, blue screen of, and the problem is very simple. They not manage array properly, array index out of bounds. So basically, they not handle the array size properly. So in short, I would say it's moved up because, guys, nowadays company wants to hire different vendors for their risk management. I will explain what is mean by risk management. So consider I want to deploy antiviruses, EDRs in my company workstations and the servers. I will not invent antivirus or EDR. I will rely on somebody else, right? I will buy maybe some the antivirus like Quickhill, or maybe I will depending on EDR like Falcon CrowdStrike, or maybe Cisco AM for endpoint, or maybe Carbon Black, like that. So I will take those the software. So when I talk about the software, we are consumers, right? We are consumer of different softwares like Putty, we are using Wireshark, we are using Packet Tracer, whatnot. If that supplier have the vulnerable component, maybe it's a jar file, maybe it's a like some some maybe some exe or something. Because of that, attacker can get access not only that single company, because I'm not a single person using that software. That software might be utilized across the globe. And because of this one, nowadays supply chain attacks are common, and I think that's the reason, they upgraded, and they moved to the third place.
Yes, sir, definitely. I would like to add one real world incident which happened in 2024. Yeah, Pratham. Yes. So there was this incident in 2024. You can go look up for it. Its name was, you can search for it, polyfill.io. Okay. So this was a JavaScript library basically, which was used by it's some third party, uh, uh, third party vendors who were providing this as a service. So this polyfill.io, it was compromised in a supply chain attack after it was sold to the Chinese company. What the Chinese company did was they injected a malicious code into the script, and which affected over 1 lakh website that were using it. So that was not the problem of the people who were using that library in their website. It was the person, it was the company who injected, it was the hacker who injected that malicious code in the script, and due to which uh, 1 lakh of websites were affected. You can't even imagine how many, if those, some of the websites, every website has their own consumers, customers. So they, how much impact they would have uh, got because of this simple thing. They sold the company, they injected the malicious code in it, and due to which 1 lakh of websites were affected. So you can see how important this thing is. So that's why it is ranked here. It's the third. SolarWinds, SolarBurst, another example. Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. Yeah. So yes, Pratham, what you were saying?
And that's why Pratham and Arudra, companies are introducing the vendor risk management. So whenever they are going to, type with any company or
Yes, sir. Definitely. That's some great thing which you have added. Like I'll go look up for this vendor management thing. I would like to know more about this, how they are managing things. Okay, so moving on. Yes, sir. Yes.
no, go ahead, no.
Okay. So moving on, I'll over to you, Pratham. Can you explain the further vulnerabilities?
Yeah. So Pratham, if you ask, can I add a few points on this one? Why it's moved to the fourth one? Yeah.
Definitely, sir.
So, guys, if you see, when you talk about cryptography, everybody aware about, we have symmetric, asymmetric, whatnot. But when you talk about Windows, because why I'm talking about Windows, because we are consumer of Windows operating systems, almost I think 85% in the world. And when you talk about cryptographic, initially when you talk about Kerberos and everything, they are using RC4 HMAC. And if you know about RC4 HMAG is the protocol, and this encryption standard, and it's easily vulnerable. People easily use the pass the hash attack or the pass the hash attack attacks because of the weak encryption or cryptographic. That's the cryptographic failure. Because if you got that particular the key the string, you can easily interpret what that string is by using the different tools. And that's a Kerberos thing. I don't know whether you heard about or maybe you practically perform this one Kerberos thing. But because of this weak failures, they introduce the strong protocols, which is AES. So Microsoft already added, and Microsoft disabled those weak protocols. So and also organization using now AES. So it's difficult to perform those kind of attacks nowadays. So and that's why I think everybody's moving. What Pratham mentioned, everybody's moving to the strongest protocols. If you talk about API, access points, which we are using in our house, we are moving from weak algorithms to the strong algorithms. Weak algorithms are not supported at all. So I think that's the reason, people are more aware about the security and cryptographic standards. I think that's why the place moved from, second to fourth. That's I think my interpretation.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, definitely. I would like to add one point that yes, as you mentioned, uh, previously all those weak algorithms which were in use, like you said, you mentioned RC4, MD5, SHA-1, DS. These all are the algorithms which have been broken down by the hackers. So moving on to the current environment, we have to secure everything. We have to use some stronger algorithms or something which protects our passwords or some information. So there are some like GCM, CVC ones are the broken down ones. So the GCM, AES, GCM, AES 128 to 56 GCM and Chacha Poly. There are various algorithms which are being used by the companies nowadays. So that's the thing which protects them, but it doesn't ensure that having these algorithms makes sure that your system is fully protected. We have to think about it, like if it is it secure or not. Yeah, Pratham. Yes. So moving to the injection. You all know about the injection, right? The SQL injection, the different type of injections. Uh, yes, yes, that's what I was going to. And like injection, everyone knows about SQL injection and everything, right? So I would like to know from you people, what do you think about the injection? What do you have in mind when you listen to the word injection? How is it applied in the real world scenarios? Don't fear, guys. It's just a discussion. We are discussing, we are sharing our knowledge. Would like your inputs also. What do you think about this injection thing?
Yes.
SQL being the most common.
Yeah, first, Reddy, you can go on, then moving on, Pratik, you can answer.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. So, just I'm a learner. So, yes,
That's not
so
it's
majority injection like SQL, CSRF, these are the majority. Main SQL is a main everywhere. There even we found Google or other sites. So the majority even interviews also discussing about there are a number of attacks like injections, but especially SQL injection is a more. So injection is a to adding it may be queries, it can be malicious code to the what we call the malicious code to the web pages, like input field. This is the one word I would say because I'm a learner. Just I want to share my knowledge.
No problem, no problem.
Thank you, Rudra.
Thank you. Yes, Pratik, you can go on.
It was the same thing. Like if anyone will like listens the words injection, the first thing comes to their mind regarding security is that SQL injection.
Yes, Karthik.
Heard of command injection, prompt injection?
Sir, I know about SQL injection, command injection, code injection, and cross-site injection.
Okay, okay, okay. Anyone more who wants to add something? Okay. Krishna, you want to say?
Yes, sir. Sir, can I get a job as a fresher, pen tester?
Uh, we'll have this discussion after the session, Krishna.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So this injection thing. So yeah, as he mentioned, there are different types like OS injection, SQL injection, the different type of command injections. There are different type of injection present. So what exactly is injection? Injections happen when a user supply data is sent to the interpreter, and as a part which is sent as a part of command or query, and the interpreter who is interpreting the command, he gets tricked into executing the data as if it were the code of getting the information, fetching the information. But what you are actually doing, you are fetching the information, or you are trying to bypass, you are trying to have the information, you are trying to get something which are not authorized to get. Okay. If you want to add anything, Pratham.
Yeah, and I think the best point what mentioned by Rudra is like definitely we are passing commands or code, So basically we are trying to fool the interpreter, and that interpreter will treat that request as a the legitimate, and interpreter gives us extra information, and that's the purpose of always injection. Maybe get information, or maybe do some mal functioning or mal activity, or do maybe maybe create some the backdoor for so it depends on what kind of injection we are talking about, code injection or something like that. But the main thing, guys, to avoid injection, the common method is at the developer side, like proper validation, proper validation of the request, proper validation request at the WAF side, proper validation request maybe at the gateway side. And if you talk about code, the code review should be the proper one to avoid the injections. Okay, so that's I would say, I'm just talking about the mitigation, to avoid such kind of failures.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely, definitely. That's the thing. So thank you for adding that point, sir. So moving on to the next, insecure design. So I would like to know from you all about this too. As the name suggests, insecure design. So what do you have in mind about this insecure design? Yes, Pratik.
So insecure design is not particularly a vulnerability on its own. It's basically like what they did was they didn't hide the sensitive data. Developers didn't hide the sensitive data or access points properly. That was insecure design or some like outdated components they put in the software.
Okay, okay. Yes, Pratham. Yes, yes. Mm. Yes, yes, yes. So that's thing. That's why we study the secure development life cycle. We have to implement the security configurations at the time of designing. We have to do it during the designing phase. So take an example: you made a website and you didn't have any knowledge about all the security things, like what all security configurations you have to do. You didn't design it that way, but due to which it is vulnerable, right? Anyone can have your website hacked, all those information and everything. They would, so that's why the thing is you have to, like, while building an application you have to consider these things. Yes, Mahesh sir.
Yeah. So I just want to give an example. This is an imaginary example, guys, but it comes under insecure design. Consider, guys, we created website, okay, and whenever we create a website and we provided user authentication, right? So after authentication, you can log in. So consider you forgot your password and you don't remember what password was used. So to reset password, what you are doing is you are sending some, not OTP, but it's like just like on email you are sending some 2-digit characters. So just the code, 2-digit. So if you asking 2-digit code or something, I don't mind, or 2-digit, three or four or five or six, whatever. But consider if it's 2-digit, it's easy to brute force, right? Easy to brute force, easy to crack, and like that. So consider uh, you have those 2-digit only, and attacker perform the combinations of 2-digit attacker can easily. So that comes under insecure design because you never thought about while designing that recovery of your password. Apart from that, if attacker is performing, you have to block attacker if he failed a couple of times. So that's a rate limit part also. So that's a rate limit also should consider while designing. So it's like what you mentioned, Pratham, it's an architectural flaw, and that's why architectures where the architect, sorry, architect, so the solution architects, I would say solution architect, the enterprise architect, there are different architects levels, guys. So enterprise architects, solution architects, and the technical experts should uh, sit together to design the particular the component to component communication, and also the whole layout of your particular software. And if you miss something, that comes under insecure design. Go ahead, Rudra.
I was asking for about what are the key difference between an insecure design and security misconfiguration thing.
Okay, okay, okay. So
And normally, this is asked by Pratik, right? Question, Pratik?
yes, yes sir.
Yeah. So Pratik, see, understand one thing,
Yes,
in,
sir.
so insecure design is the early phase, Pratik. When you design any software, or any website, whatever, software might be anything. So when this insecure design is basically initial level, I would say, architectural flaw. So if you talk about the software development life cycle, Pratik, it comes in design phase. Okay. So if design is weak, then it will kept as it is, because developers will follow the same procedure and it will be, implemented like that fashion. So if you talk about SDL, software development life cycle, it's, in the early phase while decision making, nowadays we are not using waterfall models, guys. We are using agile model, but still it's a design phase. Okay. And so that's a, comes, in early phase, Pratik. And if you talk about security misconfiguration, that's a little bit, related with the configuration, like its configuration might be, admin level configuration, configuration might be policy level configuration might be the default, consider, you have access point, and you configure access point very well, but you forgot to reset your default password or username and password. So attacker can easily, take access of your access point, by easily, because they know what is the default username password. So that's a security misconfiguration. So security misconfiguration is mostly, comes after the when software is deployed, people are using, and that's a latter phase, security misconfiguration, because people are using at that time. In security design, it's the early stage. Well, the proper, not proper design, I would say like that. So I hope I satisfy your query, Pratik. Go ahead. Yeah, Rudra.
Yes, sir, very clear, very clear.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, security misconfiguration is the basically part, while you are actually implementing, and it's like it's basically because of the maybe lack of awareness, lack of knowledge, maybe by mistake, maybe employees basically not slept properly last night, and because of that he did something wrong. You never know, right? So security misconfiguration is, maybe disgruntled employee, Pratham, disgruntled employee, he wants to leave the company, he wants to do the miserable things. So that also comes under security misconfiguration. Huh? Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So, sir, basically, authentication failure is when a system cannot verify user identity or due to incorrect credential like wrong password or network issue. And like multi-factor authentications and brute force attacks allows attackers to unauthorized access basically.
Basically, what is going wrong in authentication failures is that the what the user is not able to authenticate itself properly. That is like a one-liner thing for it. You are not getting authenticated properly by the service or product.
Yes, yes, I would like to add one more thing. Like I got to know that you all guys know about this authentication failure. Like you try to bypass the authentication, like multi-factor authentication, which are applied on a website, on a login portal or something. There are different types of authentications which you should pass to get access to go through. You go through the login page to have access to the things. You have this authentication thing. So the NIST, you guys know about the NIST standard, right? So NIST NIST guidelines now recommend us that again it says that you should have one special character, a favorable length, and you should check the check against the compromised password list. Like when you are trying to set a password, like something default password 123456, so Google gives you an information like this is a critical password, you should change your password, something like that. So these all things are also, you should have that in mind, that you should have the password, you should change your password regularly. Okay, yes, Putin. Definitely, Putin. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, you can go on.
So this is a broader topic, guys. This is my favorite topic because I developed so many rules related to the brute
Okay.
forcing, brute force attack, So let me share a couple of thoughts, on this one. So guys, authentication failure, just just don't focus on the definition of authentication failure only, but just think about, um, when this can be occur, so it can be occurred, because of the weak passwords. So that's the first starting point, because that's a weak password can be guessed, or they can perform the the dictionary attack, and maybe password spraying and whatnot. So authentication failure because of the weak password and everything. So the mitigation is basically we have to enforce the password policies. That's the mitigation. If you talk about you know the weak password used, again password policies to be enforced, and after some time we have to change our passwords. And also when you talk about this authentication failure, I don't know, I think about the nowadays credential stuffing, credential stuffing, also. Or maybe sometimes what happen is people are using some username password which are leaked. Everybody knows about have you prune website, right? Have you ever been prune? So if consider that particular your website is basically part of the data breach and the credentials got released, those credentials can be used by the attacker, and the attacker can create multiple accounts, backdoors and whatnot. That also comes under authentication failure. It's leaked out credentials, but attacker used to create multiple accounts. So it's a broader category, but yeah, I think we have to understand when this can be happen. And that's why nowadays people are using PAM solutions. Okay, so PAM, everybody know about the PAM. So I will, if you know, if it don't know, guys, I will explain what is PAM is. Consider your company has sensitive servers, where those servers are used for very sensitive transactions, and management of the user information and whatnot. So nobody can log into the server unless and until they are authorized. So definitely we are providing security, but human can make mistake, and we have to just design in such a fashion that that server cannot be easily accessed by anybody. So what I will do is I will use PAM solutions. PAM is like a privilege access management solution. So there is nobody has physical access, or like Rudra, me and Pratham working for same company, and we have access for the same server, but don't Rudra cannot log in as an active directory account, Mahesh and Pratham also. So if Rudra, Mahesh or Pratham wants to access that server, they have to log into PAM solution. Example of PAM solution, CyberArk. So I have to log into the CyberArk, which is PAM solution. I have to check out password. Check out means I have to collect password from the password vault. I have to check out, and then I have to use that password. So when Rudra check out password from PAM solution, that password is basically utilized for that session. And when Rudra release that password, that terminology called in technical check-in. Check-in means Rudra release that password, and automatically that functional account, consider Rudra, Mahesh and Pratham using the same account, which is XYZ functional account. That XYG, whenever Rudra released that password, which is check-in process, that XYG account password is auto rotated. So next time if Mahesh wants to use, the password is no longer valid, because if suppose Rudra write that password on some paper and provide it to Mahesh, Mahesh, I use this password. But Rudra check in, after that password is rotated. So that older password is no longer valid because it's rotated automatically. So guys, to avoid this kind of authentication failures, people are using so many measures. So I do have so many other examples how we mitigated that one. Also Rudra, Mahesh and Pratham cannot access that server from their laptops. They need to log into the jump server first. So the jump server, again, secure server. So you have Rudra, Mahesh and Pratham. If want to access the sensitive server, they need to first log into the jump server. And from that jump server, they have to access spam solution, which is CyberArk, and they have to get the credentials, and then they need to connect to the server. Without jump server, you cannot connect to the server. That's a restriction. So Rudra, Mahesh, Pratham cannot connect to the server from their laptop. That's a secure design. I try to explain, guys, mitigation, secure design and how to avoid that one. So I think I explained much more things, but yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Absolutely, sir. That was amazing, sir. Thank you so much for the insights. Yeah, Pratham, moving on to the next one.
I think the recent example we saw of like data integrity failure was like the NPM package was compromised. Anyone heard about that? Node package manager thing?
If nobody, I will go. Okay. But I will wait for other people to talk.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. Anyone who wants to explain, just think about it with the name. Just think about it. What may be the difference between these two things? Anyone?
Hello, Pratham. Uh, yeah, yeah. I just joined because I was outside of my room and I just come back here and that's why I joined today. So I don't know the briefing yet clearly, but I'm seeing it. And if I have any doubt, I will surely ask.
Okay, no problem.
Oh,
Yes, Mahesh, sir. You can go ahead.
So okay, so I will start with software supply chain attack, because we already discussed. So this is basically coming from the vendor basically we are consuming software of some supplier, and it's basically they are having their weak policies, and because of their they use some vulnerable library or some DLL or something. Because of that, we are basically targeted. So that's a software supply chain failure. So it's basically the risk created because of the vendor. So we are partner of that. We are taking service from them, and we are basically, it's like we are basically purchasing software with the risk, I would say, like that. So that's a software supply chain we can't control. Why? Because we don't have control on the software. They are responsible to manage their own the CI/CD pipelines and everything, right? But if you talk about software and data integrity failure, it's an in-house thing, guys. In-house thing means every company has their CI/CD pipelines. How they are going to manage, their software, how the software can be, I would say, go through the software development life cycle, how the libraries can be trusted. If they want to use some new libraries, who is going to, perform the library checks. I would say, whether those libraries are, the legitimate one or something, or are you using from the internet? Maybe you are using from internet, but from which source? Are you using from the authorized source like Apache? Or are you downloading something from we want log4j from some website? But you have to download from the Apache. So you have to download trusted, from trusted vendor, and that's the piece is missing, when you talk about software and data integrity failure. So I would say software and data integrity, it's basically in-house thing. We have to define well our CI/CD pipelines, and without proper, I would say, the planning and the testing and whatnot, the verification checks, it's like miserable. So that's the difference. Software supply chain is a vendor, and software and data integrity, it's an in-house, risk.
So what I got, the difference between both is basically whenever like third party, the vendors are not involved in providing the software. If then any issue arises from the software itself, then it is a data integrity failure. Otherwise, it is a supply chain failure.
Yeah, one thing more I can tell is simply in simpler terms, as I previously explained while explaining the supply chain attack, the polyfill.io supply chain attack. Go through it. Just have the information like what I told. It was managed by a third party, and when it was sold to a Chinese company, what they did was they injected a malicious script, which hampered, which affected 1 lakh systems, 1 lakh websites. So that's the thing. And what you can see in data integrity failures, that what you have to ask, if you are downloading this software, if you are downloading this library from an authenticated website or from an authenticated vendor. So that's the main difference between it. As Mahesh had mentioned, if it is mentioned, if it is maintained by a third party, so it can be a part of supply chain attack if something goes wrong. But if it's an in-house thing, what you are downloading, it's up to you. You are downloading an Chrome, which is from an authenticated Google's website, or you are downloading from an evil attacker's website. So you can understand it like this simply. Okay. Okay, Pratham.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
It's a my area. It's my blue team area. So guys, this
100%
is
your
not.
area.
Yeah. 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 And this is not, guys. Weakness. Huh? Do you know this is what this is? This is basically the when developers are developing, they don't know what to log because they will log what they like, what they feel wants to log, and they will log in such a fashion that might be not usable for us as a cybersecurity engineer. I will explain what I'm talking about. Just consider I am developer, Rudra is the security engineer, and Pratham is analyst. So Mahesh is developing something, and Mahesh developing like some authentication module, and in logging, what I'm like logging when authentication successful, authentication failure, I'm logging everything, but I'm logging only username, but I'm not logging IP address of the user from where it's trying, where the I'm also not capturing some details. So this is not. So basically, I'm capturing and logging which the information which is not the perfect one to analyze by the Rudra, because Rudra is a detection engineer. So when Rudra got the brute force use case, Rudra mentioned, Mahesh, I'm getting username only, but I'm not getting host name. I'm not getting IP address. How I can write use case on that illogical logging level? So Rudra will fight with Mahesh. Then Mahesh will improve the logging quality. Okay. Then Mahesh added, username like Mahesh, then from XYG server and from whatnot. There is no comma separated, nothing. Then again Rudra came to me, Mahesh, you added username, hostname, IP address, but that's not correct format. The logs reading is very miserable. Why? Because you are not properly logging. So you should log like a key value pair, like username equals to hostname equals to IP equals to, like that. So I can easily capture, or easily parse the data from the logs. Then I implemented it perfectly. Then Rudra capture those data from the logging, and as you mentioned, as we mentioned, after implementation, the Rudra write the logic on the data, which is basically on the IP address and whatnot. Then monitoring phase, which is basically done by the Pratham. Pratham is analyst. So whenever rule is triggered, Pratham will monitor in the logs what actually happened. So guys, for the whole process, I would say logs are important. Without logs in cybersecurity, we can't do anything. I will give you one example. There is one attack takes place on one company. I will not take name, and this higher investigation. I am the part of that committee. It's a ransomware attack, guys, on hospitals. Okay, so I already given you some hints. Okay, so and they are asking us to investigate. The ransomware. What is the initial vector? Okay, where it started. They pay us very good amount also on a daily basis because it's a ransomware, guys, and they ask me, okay, we want to understand the initial vector, but I ask couple of questions. Okay, what are the, okay, we isolated a ransomware system already, and we asked them, okay, are you collecting antivirus logs? Are we collecting logs from Windows? Are we collecting logs from EDR solutions? Are we collecting logs from the systems? Answer is, do you know answer? Answer is no. We don't have EDR solution. We are not collecting logs at centralized location. We are collecting only logs from the servers, Active Directory servers. We are not collecting logs from workstations. Those are used. Miserable, right, guys? Can I investigate? I can't, right? I can't do anything. So in that case, we have to do one thing is forensics. We have to take those systems, and that's the next step, because our life is very easy when logs are coming at the centralized location and we can easily analyze. But if the logs are not coming centralized location, not proper format, definitely we have to fix the logging. And that's the logging part, guys. Otherwise, we cannot do investigation or forensics of 1,000 or 2,000 system affected, because of the ransomware. So I hope this is under, I think I explained very well. So in short term, logging and alerting is basically depends on the proper quality of logs. And proper quality of logs gives you idea about how you can generate alerts. And when you talk about logging, logs might be from the different log sources like Windows operating system, Linux operating system, proxies, IDS, IPS, routers, firewalls, CASBs, whatnot. And and then we are doing the cross correlation by using the different log sources. So that's why logging is important. And if the logging is not properly done, that means this is the vulnerability of OWASP A09, which is logging and alerting failure. Because logging failed, alerting definitely fail. Because no proper logs, no proper alerts. Thanks.
Definitely, sir. That was some great explanation.
Uh, Two things I want to ask. The first was like if we have we are collecting the logs and we have put the rules properly, and somehow due to some issue the software didn't alert the analyst, would that be considered logging and alerting failure as well? And the second thing, whatever you was investigating, you are telling that was it related to WannaCry? I'm just taking a guess.
No, it's a Loki. No, so the WannaCry and Loki extension. So basically, see, so you asked two questions, So just ignore the ransomware part. Just talk about your first question. I think Pratik is if the log we deployed software on the system, but that software not send proper logs towards the centralized server. Can we consider that's a login failure, right? That's the first question, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so let's take that one. That's a very important question. So that we cannot consider as a logging failure. Do you know this is the component, the failure of the agent. So agent is basically, so consider agent is maybe snare agent. You are using syslog agent, or you are using the uh, rsyslog, or you are using any win collect agent for IBM QRadar solutions. So if you are using such kind of things, if agent got failure, definitely I cannot consider as a the failure of logging, because logs are still there, but we have to just fix that component, and that comes under Pratik. You have to monitor your agents using agent server, because agents are reporting to the server, and server is responsible which agents are not responding. If it is agent-based solution, there are agent-less solutions also, but I'm talking about agents-based solutions because it's easy to understand. So if you have 1,000 servers, you are having 1,000 agents deployed on all Windows servers and workstations, and those all 1,000 agents are communicating with the agent servers, which is the server who is managing those agents. So it's a job of server to monitor agents are responding and sending the data. If not, we need to do the monitoring. That's again the subset of the logging part, which is log gap analysis, Pratik. So log gap analysis is what? So there is some people, those are continuously monitoring. We are having 10,000 assets, 10,000 assets. Out of 10,000 assets, last week, there are few assets not reporting. What is the reason behind that? It might be they are decommissioned. It might be the agent is not working properly. Accordingly, the respective team will take actions. Okay, so Pratik, it's like not a single person job. It's like multiple team involved. But this is a really good question, Pratik. Thanks. Pratik, are you working or are you a student?
I'm a student, sir.
Okay, but nice question. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so as you said, yeah, that's the first step. Even if you are performing VAPT, you are going on exploiting a website or something. So what you see is you find the errors. What error is giving you? The basic SQL injection. You type that single. What do we say that? You got a single quote. You input the single quotes and you get the error, and you got the information like yes, this would be the case. So moving on to that's the thing. That's the error thing which you mentioned, Pratham. That's the main thing which hacker looks for. What error is it giving? So this second brand new category, mishandling of exceptional conditions. This covers what happens when things go wrong. Let's take an example. When an API crashes, does it fail securely, or the fail opens? Fail security, what does it mean? Like if there is a failure, is the API is fully closed, the door is closed or not? And if it is open, if it is open, that means that if there is an error, then whether that error has prevented that thing or it has unlocked the door. I'll get back to you, Pratik, after the example. So visualize a real world scenario often seen in authentication systems. Imagine an access control check that relies on an external API to verify a token. Okay. So an attacker, what it does is an attacker floods the verification API, okay, which causes it to timeout. Okay, and the main application catches that timeout exception, but it doesn't have a specific deny instruction for it. That means the door is open. There is an error that there is a timeout exception, but there is no deny in the instruction. That means it defaults to the proceed. So an attacker who did the flooding on the verification of an API, what he did, he timed out, he used that timeout exception to that mishandled instruction, the deny instruction which was not given to it, it defaults to the proceed, and he was able to log in. So this is the mishandle. This is the thing that mishandle the exceptional condition. Okay, do you got the idea what this thing actually is? Okay, Pratik, you wanted to ask something?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay. Yes, Pratham. So we covered all these 10 vulnerabilities. I hope everyone understood. At least you got a glimpse of all the things, right? What exactly is it? And why is it at the top? Or why is it at this stage? What all things are happening?